On a scale of 1 to 10, how mature are you?
How mature am I? I would say maybe like a 7.5.
I want to say I'm like an 8.
I'd say about an 8.
7, 8.
7.
Probably like an 8.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with an 8.5.
-3.
Say like 7.
I'm gonna give myself a 6.
Oh, I'd give it an 8.
I'd give myself like a 7.
7.9.
Like an 8?
I'd say probably like a 8 too, yeah.
Oh, probably a 10. No, I'm lying, 7.
Maybe a 7 to 8.
I'd like to say an 8.
I feel like it kind of depends on the day. I'd say an 8 or 9.
4.
10. I'd say 10.
How mature am I? I would say a 7.
And how do you define maturity?
I'm not sure I know. It's a complex question. I guess maturity would probably be defined for the most part as level-headedness under fire.
Oh, goodness. Maturity is able to act appropriately and be wise in the right situation.
I guess I think of it as learning to solve your own problems through lived experience, like trial and error almost, and how much wisdom you've accumulated.
I would just say probably more like put together, independent, confident, and less like childlike.
Acting like a grown-up and doing grown-up things.
Yeah, and like not being childish. I think maturity is about how you react to certain situations and checking your own emotions and processing things.
Being responsible.
I think it just depends on like what you go through because there's like different types of maturity.
Being able to kind of like think of things holistically.
I feel like I would define maturity as having empathy and sympathy for other people, but also having the patience to understand if somebody makes a mistake that, most of the time it's probably not intentional.
I guess life experience and also just kind of how you react to situations.
Based on your propensity for growth, I have this misconception that I know is a misconception that age defines your intellect, and that's not the case.
Everybody kind of has like a little bit of like their childness in them, but I think once it comes down to like the serious notes, it depends on how well you handle it.
For me, it's being, a father, a husband, a good community member. We still gotta have fun. Gotta be a little goofy.
I think for me, basically, for maturity, it feels like I'm really part of an inclusion. And yeah, that goes the same for me also.
Everyone goes through different things, and that's what makes them have a different level of maturity at their age.
I think in my younger life I've been through a lot of trauma and it's kind of forced me to grow up quickly, but at the same time I like to have a good sense of humor, so can't say I'm a 10 out of 10 for sure by any means.
Do you think you'll ever get there to 10 maturity?
No, I think you can't look at life too seriously. 10 is boring, I think.
And do you think maturity has anything to do with the perceptions of others, how mature they perceive you, or do you think it stems more so from self-awareness?
I would say that emotional maturity would come at the point where you recognize that it's not an outside answer. It's not something that others dictate. If you're still at a point where you are waiting for others to tell you that you are emotionally mature or mature in some other way, then you probably aren't yet.
Oh, I feel like the more mature you are, the more your own perception of yourself matters and the less other people's perception of you matters, right?
But I'd rather feel it within myself than what others perceive.
More so on how I perceive myself and what I view as appropriate or not. Again, it's relative. You never know what could be appropriate for the situation they're in right now. Across the street, and it could be different than yours.
How I perceive myself and how educated I am for the ways of the world.
I don't care how people perceive me.
True, but I mean, it goes both ways.
I think both, self-awareness and for how other people perceive you. And just like comparing myself to others who I perceive as less matured.
I think for me personally, I would say to everyone else.
I think maybe a balance of both, but I feel like how I would view myself. Because I really don't give a shit what other people think about me.
Probably how you perceive yourself, because different people have different opinions.
I think it's how I perceive myself.
I think more about how I perceive myself.
So even if somebody thinks you're more mature than you are, you still go with the 4?
Yeah.
How I perceive myself, I'm a stickler for appreciation, accuracy, audacity. So as long as I can attribute my personality to all these strong words that you hear, I'm fine, because at that point it's my ownness, it's no one else but me.
I think maturity is a lot about how you treat other people, so in that sense, I guess it is kind of the perception of other people. But at the same time, the way that I deal with my own emotions and deal with how I think about things is totally on me.
Any other comments or thoughts?
No.